Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Prey Ultimate Feral Predator, and you guys asked me to review this. I wasn't gonna. I definitely wasn't gonna buy it, so I contacted my NECA contact and said, hey, do you guys have a review sample of this? My audience seems to want me to review it, and they said, yes, here you go. So here it is. I'm reviewing it for you guys. I've been told it's an excellent figure. Like, their best Predator ever. And I am going to review it as objectively as I humanly can because I personally do not care for this look for a Predator at all. I get it's supposed to be unique. To me, it just doesn't look good. It looks way too dopey. So I just getting that out of the way. Question of the day, do you like this Predator? 1, and 2, do you like it more than a standard looking Predator, whether it's AVP or standard like classic Predator look? Which kind do you prefer? I don't mind anything other than the face on this guy, really, and the back hair. I don't care for that. But really, it's just the face that threw me off, and it totally put me off, and the lack of a helmet. Anyway, okay, let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, before we get into the figure, let's take a look at the package. On the front, it looks like it's just the text here. I don't think these marks are actually part of the printing. I think that's just from shipping or whatever. Same thing on the side. Very, very basic. Nothing metallic like the Predator 2. I think it was Predator 2. Maybe all the Predator ones have. Then we have some back photos, or some photos on the back. Goodness gracious, I'm not getting enough sleep. My kid's going through some kind of sleep regression, and I am also. Anyway, cool photos. But yeah, right here, it's just the eye placement. I can't get behind it. It looks so weird to me. So weird. And like, yeah, okay, the skull helmet's kind of cool, I guess, for the whole thing that he's got going on. But to me, it's just, I want my Predators to be higher tech than this. So, you know, that's just personal preference, but that's not going to affect the review at all because I'm going to review it as if it is accurate. Because it is, as far as I can tell. Okay, there you go. That's the packaging. Fairly basic, even for NECA's Predator standards, which aren't the most incredibly elaborate packages. This guy stands roughly 23 centimeters. He's got some height to him. That's going to make him about 9 inches. Let's do a quick... Oh, I wasn't planning this. Hang on. Okay, let's do a quick height comparison just so that we can see. He's a little bit bigger than the Predator 2 guys, that's for sure. I don't think he would be bigger than the AVP Preds. Don't have any handy though. Okay, so there's that, and here he is up against Darwin, significantly taller. And again, you guys can let me know if he's like supposed to be taller, or maybe they don't even mention it. I don't know. I'm guessing they don't mention it because why would they? Anyway, he's taller. Okay, I want to do another quick question just so that somebody can let me know because I haven't seen the movie because I have no interest in watching a movie about a goofy-looking Predator. What's with the silver or chrome all over him? It's very shiny. It's cool. NECA did it well. What is it? Can someone tell me? Is that supposed to be there? Or does mine just have some really weird effect on it that is an accident? I don't know. You guys can let me know. But let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic on this guy. He is shiny. I'm assuming that's intentional. NECA does these things on purpose. He's not all shiny. It's just the skin. So I'm quite sure it's intentional. The shading on the skin and the detail work is as good as ever. The little black specks, the shading on the brown, the shading of the darker brownish reddish brown going down the center. He's got these pink lines going down his torso and down his back of his legs. And on his back, I don't know what that's about, but it's very nicely detailed, very, very clean. So the paint job is as good as ever. It's not as intricate given that it doesn't have the stripper fishnets, but otherwise it looks pretty good. The armor is painted really well on top of the loincloth. It's a separate piece, but you get the wash on there that brings it to life. Same thing with the loincloth. That's great. And then over here on this armor, you can see really intricate paint job, very clean. It's amazing how companies that give a crap can put paint on figures and make them look really, really good. It goes such a long way to have the detail work. The little fingers, little tiny fingers, have claws, and same thing for the feet. All the details are there. The wraps on the ankles, various different paint jobs on there, and a wash. The skull, a nice matte finish with probably just a wash, I'm guessing, on there. But because it's a really nice sculpt, the wash definitely carries it through. So that's awesome. Before we look at the face, I want to comment on the dreads. I'm sure that this is just the way they had to do it. There are a lot of clumps of dreads as opposed to individual pieces, given that he has a lot more narrower, skinny dreads. That's just the way you have to do this sort of thing. And just as a result of that, they do tend to stick out rather than lay more naturally. So that's not the best looking thing. And maybe in the movie there's like some kind of reason why his hair sticks out like that. But as far as the figure goes, it does look a little bit strange. And then the last thing for the aesthetic before we get to the face is he does have the back hair, which I don't like. It's hard for me to show you that. It's creeping me out. I don't like it. I don't like that at all. It looks like some kind of weird alien back hair, or the type of guy who hangs around in a sauna after playing racquetball at the Y. Okay, let's look at the face after we take the helmet off, which is a nice feature, by the way. You don't often get to remove the helmets. You always have alternate heads, or almost always. For this case, we have the actual head in there, which, no, having the eyes so far back in the head and so wide, it looks like a dog, like a really weird looking dog to me, without like with its snout cut off. It's weird. I don't like it. It's really well done here. NECA did a good job. The eyes don't appear to be googly. I mean, as much as is reasonable. Let's see. Yeah, they look pretty good. The details are definitely good. I don't like the seam at the jaw, but that's because we have interchangeable jaws, so it's not going to be perfect. We'll look at that more later. But yeah, I mean, for what it is, it looks really good. I can't fault NECA for... Oh, look. There's detail in there, too. I can't fault NECA for making it accurate. That's not their fault. So yeah, it's really good looking. I'm gonna go 9.5 out of 10. Looks really nice. Loads of detail. The only downside would be the hair being clumpy and not really laying at all. Because even if it's supposed to be sticking out some, I imagine at least some of it would be laying naturally, and his is mostly not. But still, really cool looking. Lots of nice little details on the belt too. Very cool looking figure. Okay, as far as accessories go, you do have the interchangeable jaws. So you have the closed one, a semi-open one, and a wide open one. They all look really nice. Again, they could be a little more seamless, but what are you gonna do? That's not so big of a deal. For hands, he has these kind of weird posed hands that come on him in the package. I don't know, those are very comic book superhero, female superheroine. Heroine? Always thought that word was in. Anyway, okay, so he's got those hands, and he's got a whole bunch of different other hands. Fist hands, all kinds of different hands. I don't need to name them all. You can see them. That's very cool. He has the claws that come out of his gauntlet. They are just removable. It's a little tricky. You might want to heat it, but I was able to get mine in without heating it. They do kind of fall off too easily, but they look cool, and they are straight, so that's nice. For his left gauntlet, he has either just a hole in it, which is how he comes in the package, or you can put in this shield piece where it's not expanded, or whatever you want to call it, or you can put in the shield piece where it is expanded, so that's a pretty cool feature. I like that. For his belt, he has these little two hooks you can kind of hook onto his belt. I don't think it's the best thing ever. It doesn't work that well. Like, it's kind of a nuisance, kind of annoying, but you do get them, and then you can stick his unexpanded staff accessory onto there. You can like hang that on his back like a Gundam rocket launcher, so that's kind of cool. You do get his new space pine cone, which is two separate pieces, so I don't know if in the movie he separates them to be two, like a blunt object and a sharp one, but that it does separate if you want that. And he also gets his taser. No, it's a gun. It looks like it has a trigger, and he has trigger finger hands. It has to be a gun with a straight handle. Weird, but he has that, so that's pretty cool. And then lastly, he has his little backpack, his little knapsack, that is something that troubled me. Initially, I'm like, it doesn't connect anywhere. And then I realized, oh, it's magnetic, which is a nice touch. That's pretty cool. That adds a little bit of extra cost, a little bit of production hassle, so NECA went the extra mile to make that work without making him have like a ugly peg hole in his back. So that's pretty cool. I like it, and that's very nicely detailed too. Very, very clean paints on this figure. So that's a great spread of accessories. I'm gonna say 9.5 again out of 10. I don't think the little hooks for his belt for his Gundam rocket launcher stabber thingy is like the most elegant way of doing that, but it's okay. I think they probably could have gotten away with another magnet on there if they're gonna do it anyway, but what the heck. I'm gonna move these claws so they don't get in the way for the articulation. Now let's do the articulation. The head, it's at least a single ball peg on top of the neck. I don't know for sure, but it moves around really well. So it looks down, it looks up, it looks to the side, leans to the side, everything you want. The neck is also on a ball peg. It doesn't have the craziest range because of the neck muscles and the way they did that. It looks kind of goofy going forward. Do you see that cutout? That's hidden, of course, by the hair, but it does give you a little bit of extra range. So, lucky for him, he has that crazy hair. By the way, I like the long dreads in AVP. I don't like his long hair looking dreads. I don't I wish they were thicker and fewer. I think that would look nicer. But yeah, you do get that, so the neck works pretty well. For the shoulders, let's see, I haven't handled this guide too much. I wanted it to be a first time sort of thing as you guys are seeing it with me, so let's see how the shoulders work. Standard ball hinge. Just better than horizontal, that's nice. I didn't have to fight with it too much, so that's pretty good. As far as rotation goes, yeah, that's no problem at all. Bicep swivel is fine, double jointed elbow. So far, this guy's joints are creamy, no problem at all. Elbow works nicely, looks good. The gauntlet does rotate on this side. I haven't checked the other one, so that rotates there. For the shield, wrists have a swivel and a hinge. Do any of them have a vertical hinge? No. Which means, oh yeah, one does. One of the trigger finger hands does have a vertical hinge. That's nice. That'll be good for him holding his straight gripped gun. Okay, so we have that, and then on this side, the gauntlet does also rotate there, so that's pretty good. All right, for the torso, he does lean back. I know this much. He leans back very nicely. Slightly gappy. Is it a... Yes, it is a double ball peg. So you can close that gap, but it does look a little bit weird, but he does lean back pretty well. So that's okay. And then leaning forward, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's not the most I've ever seen, but could be a lot worse. Side to side is okay. A little bit floppy. And you do get your rotation out of that. There is a ball peg down here as far as I can tell for the lower torso, but it really doesn't move at all. That belt is on there tight and there's no real place for it to go. I don't know if it's the belt or the crotch or whatever, but this, I can't get it to move on mine at all. Really. All right, for the hips. They go out to the side pretty far, almost to splits, not all the way. We do have ball pegs in here with the faceted balls. That is not just a method of saving plastic, because it only saves a tiny bit. It does save some, but the facets allow you to have a slightly smaller ball, but with tighter retention, because each of the little points is pressing on the socket rather than the whole ball. So what you end up with is, if you do it right, you have tighter retention without it getting stuck. So hopefully they did it right. I'm guessing they did if these are palm. They're probably palm. They could be nylon in there. Hard to say. But let's see if they did it. Let's see. Going out to the side was okay. It's not loose. Could be tighter. But goes forward. This is a much better hip than they used to do. So you get forward and back. Nothing was loose. Nothing was too tight. I think that's perfectly adequate. You do feel those facets sometimes. And that's probably just from the figures sitting in the package and the plastic pressing against itself and kind of creating detents. But that should go away if you don't keep it in the exact same pose. And it should go away eventually, just if you create your own detents from posing the figure. It should be fine. It's hard for me to say because I don't know what plastics they used or what the durometer is. But it seems to be like it's a much, much, much better hip than normal Predators. Thigh rotation is built in there. That's the swivel going. You can swivel around the socket on the thigh. That's a great way to do it if you build in enough swivel. I think they did. There's not a ton here, but it's just a Predator. He's not Spider-Man, so it should be okay. For the knees, we have this swivel hinge up here in the thigh, standard hinge down here. Let's see what the range is like. Very nice range. Could be a little more, I guess, but that's going to be fine. And if you need it, you do get a little bit of rotation out of that top joint. I don't know why you would need that, but you get that. Okay, and then for the ankles, guys, get this. Ball hinge ankles. Thank you, NECA. It's like all the things I said in the last few Predator reviews have been addressed in this one, other than the goofy looking head, which wasn't something I mentioned. Okay, so ankle range. It's not great, and this is a soft piece down here, so that helps. It's fine. It's plenty of range. It's not that much more range than we saw with the ball pegs, unfortunately, but maybe that's just because of these things. But you do get, if you wiggle it around properly, a proper ankle rocker because it's a true ball hinge in there, so I much prefer that. It's going to be more stable, and when you don't have things blocking the joint, it's going to be more functional. So his articulation is perfectly good. It's not perfect. Like, there's some things that could be better. Torso could be a little bit better. Some areas here and there could be touched up, but it's much, much better than I think our normal Predators are. I'm going to give this guy's articulation an 8 out of 10. Much better in a lot of ways. I like it a whole bunch. I'm glad they fixed the hips, ankles, good things. Okay, so now it's time for the final verdict. I'm sad because this is probably objectively one of the better, if not, I don't want to say it's the best because they've had some that are like really crazy, well detailed and bigger and everything. So depending on how you're rating it, but it's easily one of the best and maybe the best executed out of all of them. It doesn't have as much going on, so it's not a true comparison, but easily one of their best executed and one of their best Predators for sure. at least in some ways, the best. I'll put it that way. How's that for you guys? It is a very nice figure. I wish it was an AVP Predator, because that's what I like. But this one is a damn good figure, and if you like the design, which I know plenty of you do, you should definitely track this guy down. It's an excellent release. We don't see many good figures these days. We do often from NECA, but they can only make so much. And there aren't that many companies that are giving you a really good figure at a good price point for the figure. I mean, figure prices have definitely gone up mostly overall. But at least if you're going to buy something like this, you're going to get your money's worth. I mean, I enjoy this figure. I don't even like the character design. That says something. Whereas if you buy a figure of a character you do like, but it's a piece of garbage, well, that's no fun. So yeah, I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 9.5 out of 10. It's a really, really darn good figure. But there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you probably should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.